like living in the UK, especially as a Californian? Well, as a wild animal biologist, lover of pop culture, history, and well, just getting out and exploring, over the next 3 weeks, I'm gonna bring you with me as we explore the southern coast of England. This week, we're going down to Devon, and I'm really looking forward to showing you Shaldon Zoo, as well as a pretty nifty beach I found. But you gotta stay to the end to find out exactly how I got to this beach, because, well, you gotta see it to believe it. So you ready? Join the safari and let's get started. Camp for my adventure in the south coast of England was Paignton. And to get to Shaldon, it was rather an interesting journey by bus. I love using public transport here in the UK, and while sometimes it can be a bit frustrating if there's delays or the bus doesn't show up on time, on the whole, it's pretty good, comparatively speaking, to other places I have lived. This particular day, I got quite lucky actually with the timings because I only had to take one bus. And it was a double-decker, so I was able to sit up on the top and get some great views on my about hour-and-a-half bus ride up to Shaldon. On the way up there, we passed through Torquay and a few beautiful little villages. I was keen to head to Shaldon because of their zoo. Shaldon Wildlife Trust is probably one of the smaller Bioza zoos, and I was keen to see, well, kind of like what Yoda says, judge me by my size, GU. I was curious to see just how they kept the species that they did, knowing that they were one of the smaller collections, and boy, was I surprised. Now, at first glance, Shaldon might seem like it has a lot going against it because it's on a steep slope, but don't let that fool you. This collection not only makes incredible use of what they have, the steep slope, in making the most out of their enclosures, but they're also quite clever about the animals that they keep to best be able to showcase the animals, their adaptations, and ways of life with regards to using that height. Take, for example, this binturong enclosure. Binturongs are impressive climbers, and so, being on the slope, no big deal for him. Squirrel monkeys? Psh, gotta love to climb, and look at all of this space for them to do so. Of course, they have some of the more charismatic species, like meerkats, which was nice because there was a little picnic table that you could sit next to the meerkat enclosure and watch them while you had your lunch. But I gotta say, my favorite was the red-ruffed lemurs. I was here a lot of the time watching them because they were just so funny. And I guess that's the thing with these smaller collections, is that people sometimes think, well, it's just a small zoo, I'm not gonna see much, why bother? However, I would argue that at these collections, you get a really good opportunity to just sit and watch the animals and see some incredible behaviors that you might not normally see at a big collection when you're rushed to get around to see everything. And in fact, at Shaldon Wildlife Trust, I was able to not just walk around once, but I walked around 3 times, and each time allowed me to focus on a different species. or maybe see one that I didn't see the first time around. Not to mention, the staff were incredibly helpful, and when they were feeding the animals, they didn't hesitate to interact with visitors and tell us what they were doing, why they were feeding them, the things that they did, and also how they were feeding them and why that was important, like scatter feeding. Not to mention, they had a pretty epic gift shop, which I spent quite a fair bit of money in actually, but hey. Overall, I was really impressed by Shaldon Wildlife Trust and just how they made the most of where they were. It was a lovely collection and was in a great location to continue to explore the south coast of England. But before I went on my hunt for a perfect beach for a swim, I needed to grab some grub. So I actually walked over to a cafe that was right next to Shaldon Wildlife Trust. And boy, was the view spectacular. Although I gotta say, it was really awkward. I had a lobster bisque thing with some nice sourdough bread, and I was really looking forward to sourdough bread. I love sourdough bread. And unfortunately, when I had originally gone up to collect my food, the water container was empty and I wanted to top up my water. And I asked the guy, like, oh, could you fill it up? And I made the mistake of leaving my food on my table where I was sitting to go grab some water. And lo and behold, the gulls, the cheeky gulls, actually grabbed my sourdough bread. And it was really sad. I should have seen it coming, but I was quite thirsty because it was a little toasty and I didn't quite think things through. But alas, you're welcome, gulls. You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed that sourdough bread. But anyways, the view was worth it, and it was lovely to see the little village of Shaldon, but also Teignmouth, which I know, don't even get me started about the pronunciation of Teignmouth. Now, on such a beautiful sunny day, I was tempted to go into the village, but I didn't quite want to because I figured it was going to be rather busy. So instead, I went a very different route. Check this out. I went through what's known as the Smuggler's Tunnel. How cool is this? I kid you not, it literally goes under Shaldon Wildlife Trust, and it was such a bizarre way to entering a beach. This beach, it again was a bit busy for my liking. I admit, I am a bit picky when it comes to my beaches. I mean, I'm not against completely crowded beaches, but I was looking for something different. And so, after assessing the scene and going back through the Smuggler's Tunnel, I found the Southwest Coast Path. Now, unbeknownst to me, this path is a whopping 630 miles. Whoa. That is a big long path, and according to their website, it can take fast-paced walkers about 30 days to complete. However, for a more leisurely pace, it can take about 52 days. But I didn't quite have time for that. Oh no, I was on a mission to find a beach. And so, thus my journey on the southwest coast began, and the views were spectacular. Yes, it was a bit hilly, but hey, it made the views worth it. And I can imagine it might be a little bit gnarly if the weather is not too cooperative, but on a day like today, it was beautiful. And I certainly worked up a sweat before I found this lovely little beach called Maidencombe. Now, what made Maidencombe really draw me in was, at this point, I was desperately thirsty and a bit hungry. And conveniently enough, they had a little cafe. And so I opted for a vanilla, now clotted cream vanilla, because apparently Devon is known for its clotted cream, in which for my American friends, it's this stuff, the stuff that you put on top of scones. Yeah. So I went for a vanilla clotted cream ice cream with a flake. Nice bit of chocolate. Oh yeah, it hit the spot and got me ready for one of my most amazing ocean swims I've had in Britain. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a waterproof camera case for my GoPro, and honestly, at this point, I was just so excited to be in the ocean that I didn't really want to continue filming. I just wanted to enjoy being in the sea. So, alas, I don't have any footage of me in the ocean swimming or views from the ocean, and I wish I did because it was stunning, because I got to see the coast from an entirely different point of view. Of course, as I naturally do when I see a buoy out in the middle of the ocean, I swim around it. Good old junior lifeguards kicking back in. But a few key things happened when I was out swimming. Firstly, I swam with a gray seal, which was pretty cool. I heard him grunting and I turned around and there he was, and it was a bit like, oh, it's a gray seal. How exciting. But as if that wasn't cool enough, the best bit was when a bird was flying at me. So I'm like treading water, right? My head's above water and I'm treading and I'm looking around. I'm like, wow, this is so cool, right? And a big black bird was flying right at me, right above the water. And I was just looking at it and it felt like in slow motion because I was like, is this bird gonna fly into me? Do I need to dunk underwater? What's going on? And I just kind of was stunned, and it came, and then he went right around me, and then I realized, guys, it was a cormorant! I was so excited. And as some of you may know, cormorant is one of my favorite birds, primarily because I adore the Pokemon Cramorant. He's one of my favorite Pokemon, and so to see a real life Cramorant was exciting. So with that in mind, that concluded my adventure in Shaldon and Maidencombe Beach. To keep your adventure going, check out my other video right here on exploring 3 collections in Ireland in 72 hours. Whew, it was a blast. But in a few weeks' time, I will also update this to include my video right here, the second part of my visit in the southern coast of England. But if you're watching this the first week, you're not going to see anything there. But this feels really awkward. Like, there's going to be something there, but it might not be there when you watch this. Anyways, you'll just have to come back and check that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in part 2 of this vlog, or over there in that video. The choice is yours.